my God, you remember that?
I do.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
That's good. So we have a lot of things that we're going to share today to help everyone for 2022. What was interesting, we just said, Dana put it out there that the three of us were going to talk about, remember that?
I do.
2022. That's it. So we have a lot
One
of
second.
things that we're going to share today to help everyone.
You went live on YouTube, but it started playing. So.
The spirits are in the house as always. If you've ever followed me, you know that these things can happen with the producers in the background here. So we do have some audience with us as well. But what was interesting, we all came together today to talk about a little bit about what we're going to talk about in 2022. And all of us come from a different perspective of what we see, but we are seeing these great similarities, which I think is the best part of this, is that our intuition is very lined up. So no matter what sort of kind of intuition you use, or if you use tarot cards, or if you do astrology, runes, whatever, there is a common theme that usually will come through in the messages. And that's the beauty of all this, that we can come from different places. One of the things I did want to kind of announce, I did wear stars because we are talking about astrology today, which I thought was great. But also, if you haven't heard, the James Webb Space Telescope, thank you, was launched 1 million miles away from Earth, past the sun, to be able to give us the history of the Big Bang Theory and all that. So it'll be interesting for astrologers and people that do study the space, what will reveal itself in the next couple of years. I think will be interesting. Like, are things going to change? What do you think?
I would agree, because there's so much out there that we haven't seen. We've seen about this much out of all the telescopes that we have. It seems like we've seen a lot. However, there's so much space out there. We've seen like a fraction of what's there.
Yeah.
Also, just to remind everybody, you can type in questions on the chat. Risa and I are behind the scenes here, and we will answer any questions you guys have. So we'll share what people are asking, but you guys have lots of people joining. So maybe we just give them a few minutes to join before you get
So
going.
the voices in the background are not our deceased relative. It is Dana. Those who have been following me for a really long time know my partner in crime, does everything. Deb is actually managing this. And then of course, Risa is here, which is a producer for Channel 9. She's also a friend. And we also have another friend that's here. Her name is Simone, and she's our cheerleader on the left. Yeah. So give him this like smile, do this kind of stuff. So as you come on, can I talk about the totem animal for this next year though? Can I go on?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So in the past, I used to look for a totem that I saw coming through in meditations and things like that from the universe to talk about, you know, what animals to lead us. So I like to bring in kind of a shamanic part of a journey, to bring in different parts for balance. And Dana and I kept watching these programs, and I kept seeing the parrotfish, which I knew nothing about. And I kept seeing it come, and I even had it in a dream. I'm thinking, okay, this is the totem for 2022. And the information on it was just kind of a little, like, didn't line up with me. So I started really tuning in. And I shared with you guys before the show here is, it can be both male and female. It can also change colors all the time. And it has what's called a pajama, that its eyes, and it kind of cloaks itself so it can sleep. So it's not prey. But the biggest thing that they can do is they clean up the coral reef, and they bring our ocean back to life again. And I feel like the theme that we're going to be talking about is a lot about how do we clean up our energy, the people around it, the planet, all those kind of things. So I thought that would be a great totem to bring forward. So yeah. So do you want to share a little about you?
Well, let's do some shout outs before we get started. Is that okay?
Yeah, absolutely.
Because we have lots of people joining. We have, let's see, I just saw one. Jessica is all the way in Israel.
Wow. Thank you.
Marilyn Brown from Texas. We've got Mark Edwards from St. Louis.
Hi, Mark. Mark was one of my producers early days in the radio.
We always love to see where people are connecting from.
What time is it in Israel?
Wow, huh?
Yeah. 9 hours ahead.
We had lots of people who were asking, what time is it in UK? So we did send out a link so they could figure out their time zone. So we probably have lots of people from the UK on as well. Aloha from Hawaii, Nancy over in Hawaii.
My brother and his family are over there in Hawaii right now.
Deb Bulk from New Mexico.
Yay.
Lots of people from New Mexico, I think. Maria Gentile is on. She says hi. Priscilla from California, Missouri. We've got Canada in the house. Montana. That would be Stephanie up in Montana, and California, Colorado Springs. Of course, I'm sure lots of people from your hometown, Colorado.
So let us know if you're from California, what part, because some of us here are from California.
San Diego, Connie over in San Diego, Kansas City, Missouri. And we have Mona who says, ready to usher in 2022 and a whole new energy.
Absolutely.
Vera from Monterey, Roseanne from New Jersey, Los Gatos, Ruth over in Los Gatos, Michelle
They
from
don't pronounce it
England.
that way.
We've got a Melissa Nelson, she's in Costa Rica.
Wow.
Wish we were there right now.
Yeah.
So my ties.
Some friends down there.
Dude, yeah.
Christine from Quebec City. It's 9 p.m. in Israel,
Wow,
Jessica
thank
says.
you.
So just like to give some shout outs to people. We've got Debbie from Vacaville,
Vacaville.
Wendy from Sacramento,
We all know those
which
places.
Mark, you're from Sacramento
Yep.
too, right?
Born and raised.
Both Deb and Mark. Wow.
I was
It's a
not born
small,
there. I was
small
born in
world.
Oregon, but Grants
Grants
Pass,
Pass.
good job, yeah. As my astrologer should know. Exactly what time and where.
So just, we always like to acknowledge to people listening, it is live, so.
Yeah.
Well, it's interesting, and growing up, we had a telephone with a party line, and now, and I don't know what you had in Nepal, if you had phones or
When I growing up, no phone.
no phones.
No phone, no electricity, no
Wow.
running water.
Whoa.
Yeah, I grew up in very,
Limited kind of,
Yes.
yes. And then we look about being on a Zoom that goes all around the world.
Mhm.
And instant time is pretty phenomenal how things has changed. So
Yeah.
we are glad that everyone's joining us. Please ask questions as we are giving our information. Because I would like for you to share. I didn't know you
Yeah.
didn't have any running water or anything. but
Yeah,
you're from Nepal.
I'm from Nepal, and I was grew up and raised there. So I came to United States in 1988.
That's not very long ago.
Yeah.
It's almost when you were born.
I know, and you're an engineer.
Yeah, I'm a civil and environmental engineer.
Wow.
I know.
That's a lot of left brain.
But it wasn't me though. It wasn't me that I wanted to be being woman from Nepal. I wanted to be someone, with a name or fame or something,
Different.
but it wasn't me. So I opened a small shop and started astrology. And I went to astrologer, and astrologer told me that I told him what my career is, and he said, "No, you are astrologer. You can do astrology." I'm like, "No, I spent $70,000. I'm not gonna do that. I put the money. No." And he said, "No, you'll see," and it just keep coming in my mind. So, yeah.
And you have a
starting
beautiful
with
door.
small. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I make malas and yeah.
More.
then-
You make Deb's own mala line.
Yes.
You guys
Oh,
created
yeah.
her mala line
Yeah,
together.
we did. We came up with all her numbers, the number you gave me, and we made that line intention for each mala individually.
Yeah.
So it was, yeah.
And they're blessed
And
by
this,
her.
the name of your store is Tibet Imports.
Tibet
People are
Imports, yeah.
asking, so
Okay.
That's
we
nice.
want to make sure we
I'm
share
in
that.
Denver, Colorado. And I one known as the prayermala.com.
Fairmala.com.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it might be a small store, but it has big energy and big everything in there. It's just phenomenal. I mean, sometimes they
Oh,
go in
thank
there.
you.
Yeah. So, and Dana met you before I did.
Yes.
So she's the one that put us together.
Yes. Yeah.
Just
Thank you, Dana.
Yeah,
Thank
that's how
you,
we
yeah.
connected.
Mhm,
God, I
yeah.
read your mind.
So I always have your picture right by my desk. So people ask me, "Who's that girl?" I said, she helps me. I do numerology and more astrology. So you help me with
Thank you.
my intuitive.
We all work together. Yeah. We all bring in all the vibes
Yes.
we can. Yeah.
Yes, definitely.
And here on my right is Mark Alexander, and you said we met in 2007
Yes.
here.
Yeah.
Yeah, actually in this house.
In this,
Yeah.
in
Yeah.
this house, in
Yeah.
this room.
So do you want to give us a little background on you?
Oh, thank you. Sure. Hello, everybody. I came into the love and practice of Jyotish, Vedic astrology, back in the mid to late 90s. And it was at an ashram that I was living at. And I found this ashram through Autobiography of a Yogi by Yogananda. So I was deeply moved, and that book changed my life. And I thought it was going to be in the ashram for forever. And then the universe had other plans, but I
Did
just
you spend
started.
$70,000 there?
No,
Have to say that.
maybe not quite that for the other
Yeah.
education. But I started practicing like late 90s and had some wonderful teachers. Dennis Harness, James Frawley. I mean, these doctors, I mean, they've been doing it for 50 years and just amazing teachers. But my love of it is just came through its connection to the Orient, to India, and the Vedic tradition of
Which is what
meditation.
you do too,
Yeah.
right?
Mhm. Yes.
Yeah, through the practice of the Kriya lineage that's connected to the Vedas that Yogananda brought, which just kind of ties all that in to
Mhm.
the astrology. There's several limbs within the Ashtanga yoga, and the astrology is one of them.
Right.
So I just came about through, having one reading when I was at the ashram, and I was like, this is very interesting.
It's like your reading, same kind of thing, yeah.
So after that, I just kind of bit by bit started, and then somebody I originally started studying with, I still talk to him.
Good.
And he was at the ashram a few years before me, and I had no idea, but we just kind of paths cross and connect. So wonderful soul. So it's a wonderful tool. And, I tell people it's not a crutch. It's not something that we necessarily worship, though we give respect to the planets and
Absolutely.
the deities and the energies behind all of these influences.
Absolutely. And I'm sure you two feel the same way. It's like, even though we teach this, we help people with readings, we're still learning and evolving ourselves.
That's true.
It's not like, oh, we have all the answers. And so even like for 2022, when we give information, to me, it's use your common sense too.
Yeah.
Take what you like,
Yes.
nurture that. If something doesn't resonate,
Yes.
that's okay.
Yes.
Because we are trying to figure out from our intuition and the information that we get.
Absolutely.
So-
Absolutely. Because most astrologers are like, they study because they're like, how is this going to help me?
Yeah.
And then as they start to become very proficient at it,
Yeah.
and then they start helping other people because people are like, hey,
I want to know. Yeah, I
Yeah.
want to understand. And so it's just another
Yeah.
tool, I think, in the toolbox.
Yes.
Mark, what's your website?
astrologytalkradio.com
That's right. Okay.
is the website, and we're working on putting some podcasts together for that as well,
Yes.
and a newsletter.
Cool.
So
Okay.
We're gonna, have I been encouraging you to do this for a long
Yes,
time?
you have.
Come on, Mark, keep going.
So just answering a couple questions.
Yeah, is there any questions on there that people are coming up with?
Not yet. You guys, I know
Okay.
you're gonna jump into 2022.
Yeah,
Yes.
so one thing I'm gonna bring up, and then I'm gonna have Mark kind of talk about a couple things, is I think we're just gonna kind of rotate
Okay.
a little bit, but share what you can. But for 2022 in numerology is the number 6, which is the third eye. So again, this is about our intuition, seeing things, looking deeper. I also feel like there's a lot of 2s in 2022. So my feeling too, and see what you guys have got, is all about your relationships. And I feel like it's a relationship with yourself, relationship with what you believe, your relationship with money, your relationship with fear, your relationship with all the people in your life,
Yes.
what's working, what's not.
Mhm.
So what did you get? Just to validate me, okay? That's all. I'm just kidding. Whatever you get.
Did you want me to go for several minutes or just kind of touch on right on that?
Just touch on certain things, whatever you feel is right.
I think this upcoming year is really very much about how the influences the planetary influences astrologically will kind of force us into either paying attention to that attunement. And if we don't, things will be feeling more challenging. It'll certainly be different from 2021. Come March, April, I think there's going to be a huge energy shift with the whole concept or the fears around the COVID thing and all of that. That's going to be like very minimal. So I just don't see a lot of
I heard
influence of
that.
I don't see a lot of
Okay,
more of the COVID stuff.
Okay.
After the third month or so being an issue.
So
But-
in March, you're saying?
yeah, March, when the nodes Rahu Ketu shift signs, I'll talk about that in a little bit, but there will be that influence where the whole flu issue was like, it'll be definitely knocked down significantly as far as the concern, the fear, the influence, the people getting sick and all of that. However, karmically, we're going into a particular yoga that's called a Kala Sarpa yoga. Kala meaning time, Sarpa meaning serpent. So you're caught between this moment of time between the planets, which means basically, you know, all the planets are on one side of the Rahu Ketu.
Okay.
So that means there's, you know, there can be contention in this kind of sense of like being forced to either, okay, I need to either go within and work on my own sense of attunement and alignment and not immediately reacting to whether it's media or family or friends that you may not agree with, anything like that.
Thank you, because that's been my big thing this year is
Yeah.
doing the knee-jerk reaction
Yes.
versus calming down, breathing through it. You know, I feel like it really, our radar is up so much higher.
It is.
So you're
It is.
saying it's gonna kind of, we're gonna refocus on it.
We'll be, I think, in a way forced to kind of refocus on
Okay.
it because come spring, you know, May, June, you know, the Neptune Jupiter connection, that'll be kind of expanding more of a, I don't want to call it a spiritual revolution, but there's that energy behind it.
Okay,
There's more people kind of opening up to maybe this kind of form,
yay.
and which would be really nice because there's so much truth that comes through it. And so it's kind of like, yeah, I totally validate that of like that being pushed to like, okay, I need to like really tune in because if I don't, and I just react,
Yeah.
you either get into arguments or you make yourself upset or
Lots of energy.
yeah,
That's
wasted
Excessive-
energy.
Mhm.
How do you
Yes.
feel with that?
I think I agree with 100% what you said, and it's pretty amazing to see. And I love when you talk about Kala Sharpa, the two planets, you know, like the pushing toward the planets on one side. I
Yeah.
think that would be very incredible. Change could happen, and it's like April or end of March.
I-
or something.
I think we'll start seeing things shift in starting in February.
February-
um,
oh,
A little bit
But
earlier.
once the Rahu Ketu, Rahu represents the north node of the moon, and the nodes simply represent like potential points of eclipse.
Yes.
That's the easiest way to describe it.
Okay.
yes,
Um,
yeah.
so eclipse is all about light being blocked and that sort of thing. So they
We want
can,
to bring light to all of our
which
energy.
forces us to bring light
Yeah.
up.
Mhm.
Yeah, in those
Yeah.
moments.
So the serpent piece of it, would that be the Kundalini or the healing? Because snakes are really about our healing and Kundalini.
I think
and
that's
change.
connected to if we own what's going on, if we own what's
Oh, you have to own it.
what's going on in the world.
Oh,
So
shucks.
I know.
So if we own it.
So we
yeah.
have to like be responsible and authentic within ourselves as far as like, if we're just reacting from ego and what we see on the media, we're toast.
Okay.
Yeah.
We're done.
Yeah.
Because 2022 we're gonna have some fluctuations, ups and downs
Yeah.
and the easiest way.
Politically, you're saying.
Politically, yeah.
Yeah.
But I
Yeah,
think that
and-
politics and religion and all this stuff does affect how we each feel. So it is part of
Yeah.
our energy, but how you can respond. You have a thought, I can tell.
Yes.
Well, I thought it was 2022. It's like if you added, like you said, 6, you know, in the third chakra. So I think a lot of people have awareness of so many things instead of ignoring. And I always call it open your third eye, having clarity, you know, because a lot of time we do things and where's, you know, are you having more clarity? So I think it's more clarity will come to us.
Mhm.
It seems
And-
like everyone, and I'm
Mhm.
sorry, the voice behind the camera, it
Yes.
seems like everyone is making tremendous changes in their life these
That's
past
true.
year.
I would-
Yeah,
I'll talk a little about what I think
yes.
what they're
and-
saying makes sense
Yeah,
to.
and
Yeah.
third eye chakra, it's like the wise, wisdom, awareness, left side of brain, right side of brain, subconscious mind, your mind, how it's working. And I
Mhm.
think it's when you awareness, when I talk about awareness, I said, even you are doing little things, if you're aware of it, things happen, you know, like I give always example and story, like even if you're eating salad, right? If you have awareness, you are eating salad, the salad, the leaf, the grow 4 months just to be that leaf, you know, and have a gratitude and awareness.
Oh, that's
It
really
helps your
beautiful.
body to nurture. So I think 2022 is a lot of nurturing and eyes opening for a lot of people.
And
Yeah.
when I saw the parrotfish being the yin and the yang, I think it's true that we can get really one-sided. And I think what I saw with the pandemic is people started revisiting their value in life, like what was
Mhm.
important.
Yes.
So you saw a lot of baby boomers retiring That's why there's a shortage, because they're like, I don't want to do this anymore.
I'm done.
I've got a lot of people saying that their job isn't passionate enough, or they're looking at their relationships.
Yes.
So I think a lot of that was that cleansing and stuff, where
Yeah.
now it sounds like we're putting maybe things in place better. Would that make sense? Like that
I
we're
think
looking
so.
at?
I think so.
I mean, what do you think?
I would liken the number 6
Yes.
to, for example, the 6th house in
Yes.
astrology. And
Yes,
that's about, that's kind of like the workhorse of the chart. It relates to the 10th house, and that's about vocation and career and our
Okay.
standing
Mhm.
in
Yes.
society. The 6th house is about kind of like getting in the trenches and working it and, doing our due diligence every day of just, whether it's our, just being,
Mindful.
committed and mindful to our sadhana or our spiritual practice, or just our mindfulness or that sort of thing. Because I think the greatest benefit we could do ourselves is really about just taking the time to go into that stillness, whether that's a meditation for yourself, or whether that's being in nature, or whether it's being in an artistic project where you lose yourself for hours. I mean, that's definitely,
Yeah.
Meditation.
yeah.
Yeah.
It sounds like we've been too distracted, and this is what 2022 is about, not being so distracted.
Yes. Yes.
Does
Yes.
that make sense?
Yes.
Okay.
And if you go back 2020, 2020 when COVID started, and that was added to 4,
Right.
right? So everybody stayed home. 4th
Yeah.
house is a home.
Oh, is
It
it?
is.
You are
Oh,
forced
wow.
to. You are forced to stay home.
To look
No
at
matter
that.
what.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
And a lot of kids actually went to their parents' house because there's no job. You can't pay the rent.
Mhm.
So actually, a lot of kids went to parents' house.
That's interesting.
That's
That's
like the
interesting.
mom, Yeah.
Wow.
So I
I've
think.
got chills.
That's
That's
where your intuition go.
Yeah.
And 2021 is added to 5, right? So
Okay.
which we are in now.
Okay.
Still more week left.
Okay, we're 7 more days.
Yes. And that will be, I will say, throat chakra, and we did communication. So Zoom
that makes so
started
much
very,
sense.
very high.
Mhm.
Your broadcast started very, very high. And everything, people are, watching news, and throat chakra, so much argument too, but,
Right.
but
Yeah.
it's all positive. It's all speaking your truth. And, some people express themselves, maybe we all express ourselves, and we had a little conflict.
It's also listening.
Yeah, that's true. Yes.
Don't you think?
We did listen.
We're supposed to, and I think, do you think 2022 too is about bringing in that listening part? Because if we're
Mhm.
trying to not have the distractions,
Yes.
to be more present.
I think.
Yes,
that's very
and then I
important.
think the words are out now. And I think that, like you said, 6th house is action, and
Yeah.
10th house how it's working. And so I think the remedy, the work, the service, I think it's gonna come out more in 2022. So I'm
Mhm.
kind of excited.
Yeah.
It's one of my favorite numbers.
Is it
Number 6,
really?
Yeah,
Cool.
number 6 is my number. Yeah.
So what else do you have on there, Mark, for next year? One of the things I got too, as you're looking this up, I got an ending, like middle of the year, maybe an ending of things, like the way things look, maybe things are gonna be ending. And that was through an intuition, and I don't use these kind of cards, but I did pull
Yeah.
them for fun. And I felt like there's like an ending, and I don't know if this is politically or the earth or our own stuff, that we have an opportunity, or what did you see with that?
What I see is it kind of feels like all of that energy gravitates toward the government and the politics and all of that. And to simply kind of note a couple of points to share with people. First off, when the nodes are very influential in many ways. So what I mean by that is, for example, they can be very challenging, and I'm concerned about Biden and his health and all of that come February. Because when the nodes move, because I have his chart as well, and as soon as the K2, the south node, which represents the Kundalini energy and that sort of thing.
And if people don't familiar with Kundalini, it's just all the energy through all your chakras moving.
Yeah.
And exploding at the same time.
Yeah.
It's like ours is the rebirth without the epidural, basically. It's going through changes.
Yes.
Yeah. It's
Yes.
a good thing. but
It's a
you
good thing,
Yeah.
Kundalini, Holy Spirit,
Yeah, whatever it
sacred
looks like.
energy. Yeah, exactly. So when that K2 by degree, when astrologers are fanatic for like, what degree is it in? You know, where's it at
Yes.
exactly?
And the rest of it says, just tell me the stuff.
Just tell me the stuff.
Just tell me the stuff.
So beginning of February, the K2 is going to get really close to Biden's sun.
Okay.
So that, and that is in his first house of Scorpio. And the first house, one of the main indicators of the first house is the human head. So that could be a potential greater challenge for him mentally and health-wise. I think it'll be to the extent that he may even need to step down. And I would be shocked if he was still in office by end of summer. I mean, I would be shocked.
I was kind of getting a lot, and not that we want to go really political,
No.
but maybe you got something too, just because we don't want to kind of go there, but
Yeah.
I was getting, in a lot of the countries, there's going to be a shift in some leadership.
Yes, yeah.
Like, is that what you get to?
Yes.
Like, I feel
even
around the
Nepal.
world, you
Yeah.
know, we're gonna see, you know, England and China and.
I think so.
And all these other things that I was
Yes.
getting was, yeah, there's gonna be just kind of that rebirth and a change. And we don't have to be fear-based, because everything has to change.
Exactly.
That's true.
I think it's
just-
part of the whole
Wake up.
revolutionary kind of
Yeah.
awakening process.
Mhm.
And just before a point of interest, you know, Kamala's chart is pretty strong for the next year and a half, 2 years.
That's what I
So
was feeling
that
too.
would be like, well, what's that mean logically? It means, you know, somebody going into a higher position.
Right.
So that was just one thing that's a lot of astrologers are talking about. So the other thing, that on a more positive note, the Jupiter and the Neptune, when they're basically together in the sign of Aquarius. The degrees are a little bit apart, but it's a kind of like spiritual revolution where people are kind of opening up to different spiritual modalities, if you will.
Don't you think that people are just looking for different things than what they've had in the past too, whether
I think so.
either they go back to religion or they go back to some sort of tradition or things that they're looking for other answers.
Or they become more like us.
Well, I think,
More open-minded.
I think that,
Open-minded to
open-minded,
everything,
yeah.
yes.
I think with Zoom and
Yeah.
all that, people are now it's more accessible.
Yeah.
People to see other ways too.
Yeah, I think that is spiritual. I think lots of people, even they're staying home. I think a lot of yoga, meditation,
Yes.
and a lot of learning and
Mind opening stuff.
spiritual learning and learning to be intuitive and all of that. I think it's a beautiful
Mhm.
happening in 2022. And I always say like 2022, and 2 has like pair. We call it lucky number for 2. It's a moon. This is our mind and our emotions, you know. And so I always think, okay, so there's a 2 and 0 and 2, how this lining up. So I was thinking the first 2, it represents sun. So like, you know, you just said the telescope is going to go
Towards the sun.
towards the sun,
Past
past
the sun, yeah.
the sun, and getting new picture information.
Right.
So I thought that was really cool.
Yeah.
So that's like 2, and the sun is having more, you know, something that we never seen before, you know.
Right.
So 2, first one represents sun, and I always call it 0. It's emptiness. We all, you know, nothing is permanent. You know, nothing. And you know, I say this is mine. This is me. This is, you know, it's learning to be not a permanent. Learning to be not like letting go, but kind of not, you know, that's emptiness. Learning to be that oneness, emptiness within us. You know.
But like we're talking about, being having a relationship with yourself,
Yes.
not the external, always
That's
looking for the
excellent.
external.
Yes, that's Mark said, like having your own things too. You
Mhm.
know? Yeah.
Is that
And
what-
I think
No, go ahead.
another 2, which I call it, 1 will be for the earth. So we are 202. That would be the earth, and earth has a moon as a partner, and moon has a earth to that pair. So that's why I was like, I was just writing, it's like thinking like, oh my gosh, this is very powerful years.
And it creates the balance. If we don't have the moon,
Yes, and creates a balance. Yes.
yeah,
I think that's beautiful.
Do you guys want to take one question?
sure. Maybe we'll come back.
And then we can come back. So Shannon is asking, I understand there's a major energy shift happening, becoming more spiritual. People are becoming more spiritual on a big level. Can you give tips on how to easily adapt and join this? And also how to figure out, well, what the heck our purposes are. She's asking specifically for herself, but I know we're not doing individual readings right now. But on a big scale, what do you guys think about that?
You guys want to share first, or do you have any insight?
Ladies first.
I think first thing is, we all have free will. We can change our destiny. We can be whoever we want to be. I'm from Nepal. I mean, I'm from the hardest life you think about it, and I think she can grow on her spirituality just meditating, And people tell me, I don't have time. I'm a mom. I'm like, you always have 5 minutes before you go to bed.
Yes.
And I think spirituality is what gonna pull her energy-wise to do better and best in her life. Yeah.
And I think it's relieving that you do deserve. I think so many, especially women or healers, are givers all the time, that we don't find the time for ourselves.
That's
And
true.
that's really saying, I do deserve this 20 minutes to just sit down and be present.
Mhm.
And that receiving will help, because people want to hear their guides. They want to hear their intuition, but then they're not willing to take the time to hear and receive. Because
Yes.
there's that guilt, there's that to-do list.
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah.
when you cross over that to-do list will not mean anything to you.
So this is an interesting question. Debbie is asking, do you see a war with Russia or China?
Okay,
What
so
is
she's
in
actually
store?
giving countries.
What is in store in
Um,
2022?
I am more concerned about what's going on with China. Do I see a war? I see contention. I
See,
see,
that was my thought. It's the vibration of the word you're using.
I see the media word of saber rattling, blah, 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 where there's just this bickering back and forth. And yeah, we've seen, in the media and the news, China doing those military flights close to Taiwan and all of that. But that's probably not that far from the norm. And I think we have to be careful. This is another thing I wanted to touch on, where we pay attention to what we're seeing in the media, because most media, this is what I see through the charts, but I also resonated with it because there is a kind of almost agenda through certain media
Mhm.
programs, because if you look to see who owns the channel,
Yeah.
thank you for shaking your head.
That's our audience taking their green.
If you look to see who owns the media, then you're going to know which way they want the narrative to go, depending upon who that person is. And if you know who the person is and what their beliefs are, then that's how it goes. But as far as the war, I don't necessarily see a big to do. I see more issues with the economy and trade and that sort of thing, because China is trying to become the currency of the world, which currently it's not quite there yet. It's still the dollar, even though the fiat dollar is basically worthless, but it's still backed by the government. So it's still the global economy, a global currency. So.
And what I believe when you use I'm all about the words we use, like the question about a war. And I think we have a war within us, so
Definitely.
when you look at, when we use war, where's the conflict?
Mhm.
And I think we're always going to have some sort of conflict with other countries and our belief system. So it's, how do you respond to it? And I think, the US has really wanted more economic growth here. So, if you look at where we're getting right now, with not getting things from the ships, things like that, is
Mhm.
really kind of another wake up call about how much we're depending.
Yeah.
So is that war within all of us? Like, do we want to support
Mhm.
where it's coming from?
Yes.
Yeah.
I will say, this summer, midsummer to end of summer, there's a conjunction, a combination of several planets, Uranus, Mars, the North Node, Rahu. That's in Aries. Aries is ruled by the Mars energy, and that's a fire sign. So it can, and it's a very type A personality
Not me.
sign. That would not be. So type A is like go, 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 go,
Yeah.
go.
Yeah.
So they're great at starting projects. But it can get out of balance very easily with all that energy in there. So that being said, that could be like a possible terrorist attack or something, some end of summer, fall time frame. So just kind of have your wits about you and travel.
I have a date for that. Actually, it's a Mars and a Rahu conjunct in a Bharani, just darker in a fire sign. So that could cause a little bit of conflict. But that it's not a predict, but kind of
It could
July.
It's
July
a light, it's a
16.
window, yeah.
Yeah, July
Yeah.
So that's
16
why I
to
was saying
August
the
10.
change.
Yeah, August 10. So it's a very hard time,
August
too.
July 16th through August 10th.
August 10
It's a hard time.
Hard time. And it's for all of us, even we are
Spiritual, whatever.
spiritual and all that. It's just a little war going on. And that's
That's
the,
why I got that card. the
oh,
death card,
yeah, that's
For the middle of the year.
Yeah, and yeah.
The
that
death
would be
card
that.
in tarot isn't, it's just an ending of something, which may mean
Yes,
the way these conflicts are going is to
Going,
change
yes.
what's been happening.
yes.
Yeah.
Definitely, yes. that's gonna
And you
change.
saw in July.
Everyone's seeing orbs flying around you. I just thought I'd
Yay.
mention that real quick. Orbs shooting across the screen.
Do you have any questions before we go on further?
Nope, keep going.
All
I
right.
know everybody wants to hear what you have to say
Yeah.
too,
I
Miss
will,
Deb
I
Sheppard.
will. So go ahead, the next one will go. But I am throwing
Yeah.
my pieces in there.
Yes, and I'll do the remedy a little bit.
So that was one of the biggest points I wanted to share with everybody was the end of summer, that contention and possible terrorist attack.
And doesn't that mean that it's here? It just means
It
Yeah.
somewhere.
somewhere.
Somewhere,
And we know
yeah.
too, we have to remember too, because we like to be careful if people are new to this kind of belief system, is there's free will in everything that
Yes,
we do. So when
definitely.
things line up, we're showing you what the energy is in the
Mhm.
universe, but it also means that there's choices along the way.
Absolutely,
Yes.
absolutely.
If you're new to this,
Yes.
okay.
And the other aspect I wanted to share, an aspect in astrology terminology is just two planets influencing one another by either line of sight or being together. So just to touch on the country, the US real quick, because I think this affects the world in a way. We have Saturn and Pluto in Capricorn. So the last time Pluto was in the sign of Capricorn was during the American Revolution.
Wow.
Mm.
So it takes Pluto literally 248 years to circumvent around the sun. So Pluto is about change. It is about a death of bringing things to a closure, to restructure something new. With the Saturn there, it definitely kind of creates even more of an impetus or push to kind of continue creating a change within the government. It's about government structure change. That's what that represents to me. So that'll be going on for some time,
Okay.
but
Is that in all government or pretty much in the US?
that's primarily for the United States.
Okay.
But
But there's always that ripple effect too.
there's also the ripple effect, and Saturn in and of itself represents governments,
Right.
authority, and that sort of thing. But it also represents rule of the people, the common folks. Yeah, like us. Like us. And with Pluto there, it creates this kind of this energy that's like forces us to like, okay, we don't agree with what's going on. And so that is kind of part of the theme of the year as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did you get something on that too?
No, I think, yeah, he's right with the,
Do you guys feel that England's gonna have their change too? The Queen?
I think so.
Yeah, I keep
I-
getting that's gonna be a big rebirth
that's-
too.
Yes.
Yeah, I was just getting the feeling of this is gonna change because it's like this monarchy for so long.
Yeah.
And there's been some turbulence in
Yes.
their house.
Yes.
So to me, it's like what you were saying about people having voices and making changes and what's that gonna look
Yeah.
like? Did you feel that way too, or?
I feel a little bit that way, but it's when it's a February 19th, it's coming soon. After that day will be, you can see a lot of changes.
Okay,
Yeah.
February 19th.
For
Yeah.
the,
So after Valentine's Day,
after Valentine's Day, we'll be seeing more.
kiss your loved ones big time, put your seatbelts on.
Yeah.
Okay,
I think the nodal influences of the Rahu and the Ketu,
Yeah.
when they shift signs, because right now they're in Taurus and Scorpio. So
Scorpio,
in
yes.
the Vedic system, for those who don't know, we take into account the precession of the earth, which means our calculations are a little bit different from Western astrology. So
Yes.
some may be going, what do you mean it's in Capricorn? No, it's not. There's like a 23-degree difference in our calculations. So
Yes.
kind of like,
everything's,
wait, did you lose 23 degrees or did you gain 23 degrees?
but it's a sidereal system, which means it's
Yeah.
astronomically reflective of where the planets are
Okay.
in real time,
Yeah.
which was It's kind of a Saturn, and so I'm an Aquarian, so I'm all about show me the facts. That's how I kind of also acclimated to the Vedic system, but
Yeah.
that's kind of one of the biggest changes I wanted to.
I have one more question that's coming up. What about mental health?
I think that it's still number 6, for
Okay.
the third eye chakra, we call it brain. And
Okay,
I think a lot of mental will be held. Well, I just have 2022 added to 6. So 6th number is a Venus.
okay.
So Venus is, goddess of love, money,
I'm
white.
ruled by Venus.
Okay, so
Yeah.
Venus, people have, but it's not like only the mental health will be hard or something, people have a hard time in their mind. I always call it remedy. 6th house could be remedy. So I think we have more remedy, more energy, or remedy should come up. And Venus is the only issue we will have, I think, will be skin issue in 2022. We'll have eyes will red more, or eyes issue, and we'll have a lot of clumsy hand, or tripping more, or falling down and tripping more. And I already feel that.
No. And why is this?
Why is this? It's because if you add to that is a Venus number. So
Okay.
we're gonna have more Venus. And Venus, when we start the new year now, and Venus been retrograding since December 29th through December 19th.
Yes.
Through
19 is
all
a
the
big
way.
number.
Yeah, all the way through January 29, Venus is retrograding. So what happened is we are looking a little bit backward, like, what I did, what it's been happening.
Reflection.
Reflections, yes. So 2022, so I call it Venus, it will be highly influenced, or Venus energy will have more.
Okay.
And the Venus is the skin, it's the 6th chakra wise, and so I
And to me, the
skin and
skin-
red, and yeah.
Isn't that too how people perceive us? How we
Yes.
look, how we feel about
Yeah.
ourselves, how
Yeah.
people perceive us, or how
Yeah.
we see,
How we see, yes.
and how we see ourselves. I mean, we can be very judgmental
Yes,
about how we
that's
look, what we feel,
That's true.
and, the skin, when it gets irritated, is that also an irritation of what's going on?
Yes.
Yes.
Those kind of things that I think people
anxiety.
Yes.
Yes.
So is it gonna show inward or outward, it's the same
Yes.
thing?
Yes. And then that's why a lot of my gurus were talking about, 2022, it's if you're gonna open a business like a massage, skin, clothing, anything, the outlook,
Sorry?
like oils, the outlook,
Mangas.
outlook will be best time to do that business. So people who is looking for part-time business or their own, or that would
Perfect.
be very.
Yeah, perfect. Got it. Also, I heard marriages and relationships are
Oh, yes.
important for 20.
Yes,
Good.
so, yes. I wrote it down.
Did
Maybe,
you?
and you talked about it.
Yeah, a
Love,
little bit
yeah.
about relationships.
Relationship and love will be really important for 2022.
You know what I feel different about this year than the previous years is there was so much uncertainty that I think we got into the idea that there's not always a normal anymore. I think before that, we were kind of asleep,
That's true.
and so with
Autopilot. almost.
autopilot,
Yeah.
like this is my career, this is my schooling, this is my
Yeah.
marriage. And to me, the pandemic isn't a spiritual thing, but when it happens, I like to look at the spiritual meaning behind
Sure.
things.
Mhm.
And when I look at, it didn't just affect one country, it affected the world
World, yes.
and economics and relationships. And so I feel like a lot of that was for us to sit back and kind of purge and look at stuff and be together and just sit, even though if you don't meditate, we're sitting in your stuff.
Yes.
You were able to get away from your stuff.
That's
Right.
true.
It's right there looking at you,
Yes.
And so I think that kind of reset programmed us to go, okay, I can't just ignore everything in my life. I can't just,
Mhm.
put the blinders on and keep going.
Yeah.
And so 2022, to me, from what we're all thinking here, is having that reflection again and going, okay, so what's next in your book?
That's
What's the
true.
next chapter? What's the next piece
Yeah.
of it? And how you can't continue to ignore,
Mhm.
because this turbulence is going to be there. We can't control things.
Right.
And I think most people feel safe when they control.
Yes.
Well, our life purpose, when people are asking like, what's my life purpose? I believe it's getting through the fear.
Yeah.
It's leaving Nepal and coming here. It's,
Yeah.
leaving what's your normal and what's
Yeah.
comfortable and putting yourself out there that's
Mhm.
different.
Yeah.
And that's probably why the spirituality as
Mhm.
well, where people are gonna go, yeah, this isn't working for me anymore, so I want to try a different type of system.
Yes, and that's why 2022, I think people gonna change their look, their hair colors, their hairstyle, even the body. So many people gonna have a change
Mhm.
their look, even the way they eat, way they do routinely, what they've been doing. So
Really?
I think it's
Are
gonna
we
be
gonna love our
interesting.
bodies more?
I think we're gonna love more, but also going to be change.
Okay.
Change meaning by like like looking at truth and themselves, but change few things outlook too.
Okay.
Outlook too, because Venus is the uplifting color. So I think a lot of people, we always wear so much black, we always pull towards dark gray, darker colors. So I think people are looking for a little more uplifting color too, because Venus is the
Bling.
one of the
Bling, bling.
one of the brightest stars,
Yeah,
right?
right, bringing in the stars.
And bringing that uplifting energy. I think it will be fascinating to see people see. I think we're going to see more colors.
Yeah, let me just add something real quick to the
Yes.
Venus, because as you were saying, skin issues
Yeah,
or irritation
The
of the eyes and all
eyes,
that. Mars is going to soon be conjunct together with the Venus.
Yes.
So that will do a couple
Does
of
that mean
things.
alignment?
Yes, it means
Okay.
an alignment
Alignment,
and
For us, like-
being connected together.
Yes.
And it's going to be, they'll be close to one another for about 3 months.
Yes.
So that means a lot of, for example, relationships that are like Mars-Venus relationships
Yes.
that are what I would consider to some extent like a Hollywood relationship.
I like mine.
Kind of like
Yeah.
passionate.
Yeah, okay.
It's a passionate connection, but not necessarily a long-lasting one.
Okay.
Yeah.
But the Mars influence could create that irritation
Yes.
to the body type thing,
That
where
type
those
thing.
ailments kind of come up a
Show
little
up.
bit.
Yeah.
But going back to the meditation and going within and all of that, as we go into the springtime, I wanted to touch on this because it's not to scare anybody. It's really about, okay, the more we can come into our own sense of
Self-love.
self-love, self-awareness, just being okay with ourselves, through our own practice, however that looks, that's going to be really important because the planet Neptune with Jupiter in Pisces, when that hits in June's summer timeframe, if we don't take on a kind of practice,
Right.
it goes easily into addiction. Because
Yes.
it's like
Oh,
not,
that's right. I
it's
read
not,
something on that.
it's
That's
not
right.
dealing with the issue.
Right.
It's
Yeah.
because you're using something to cover it up.
Right.
So that's the
Distracted.
concern. Yeah.
Mhm.
And when Mark
Yes.
is saying about not to scare people, it's like knowing that there's we're in Colorado. If there's a storm coming, it isn't to scare you, it's to tell you to be prepared.
Mhm.
Give
Exactly.
yourself more
Yeah,
time, make
time.
sure that your car's got gasoline,
Yeah.
make sure if you have a
Yes.
snack and there's water in the car. So
Yeah.
all of this is how things are gonna be approaching all of us,
Yes.
but not with fears, with tools.
Right.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Just
To give
paying
you
attention.
power.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
to give you
Empowerment, yes.
Thank you. That's
Yeah.
perfect.
Because people do go into, when they, some people don't want to go see an astrologer or psychic because of the fear. We're like, oh no,
Yes.
we're gonna give you tools.
Right.
Yeah.
This whole intention is to give you two tools to prepare. Like, if you're not looking at your stuff, then something's gonna hit you to make you look at your stuff, which I always think.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm trying to get away with it a lot longer, but it's not gonna happen.
There-
But Mark told me a few years ago in a reading, like, your health, I'm like, yeah. Well, hospital 3 times, yeah. Gotta pay attention. Okay, you were right.
Yeah.
It is, it's that free will, it's getting
Yes,
information,
uh-huh.
so.
Just being forewarned.
Yeah.
It's like if you go buy a home or you buy a car, it's, yeah, absolutely.
So you
So,
can always do mantras,
Absolutely.
mantras to make you feel better. And people always ask me, I don't know how to pronounce it. Am I saying wrong? I said, nothing is
We
wrong.
can show you.
Yeah.
We can-
And not only that, you don't have to do a mantra in your language. You can just
Yeah.
go, I
Do it
am
in English.
perfect, I am
Yeah.
loved, I
Mhm.
am
I
loved.
love-
It can
yes.
be any
Yeah.
type of thing that you
Yeah,
that you
and
desire.
it's not, it's just like
It's
you put
vibration.
intention, vibration, intention to it.
Yeah,
When you put intention to it, when you happen.
Mhm.
100%. I'm so glad we were aligned. Okay, did you have a question there or something? Say something?
Somebody does have a question. When our beliefs are more aligned, this is from Jen Terso, when our beliefs are more aligned with a community like those on this call, and they are more intuition based, how do we hold true when others want to be contentious and argue and use what the media says to create doubt for ourselves and our life path?
There's a lot of ways to do that.
exactly.
Yeah.
Tools, more tools.
Part of it, I think, is trying to make sure that you listen to someone else's perspective because they are where they are for the reasons, and we're not there to change them. And so it's respecting those, but also seeking out people that are aligned. So you continue to get those juices. Like you have that party at your house,
Yeah.
and everyone there had gotten into Paul. They were very spiritual. We could say things without going, oh, so they're going to be awkward. It's not going to be awkward.
Yes.
So it is finding what I call your tribe, so that when you build yourself up in that energy, you feel really good and safe, so that when you are out with people that are not aligned, it doesn't bother you. You just like, okay,
Right.
we agree to disagree kind of thing.
Exactly.
Yeah,
So you
because you
guys-
already center.
Yeah,
You already, you are who you are. It's other people, it's just outside of you.
and if you're new in this, don't be like you're in multi-level marketing, like you want to change them and market them. Part
Right,
of that is if
right.
you live a good life,
Right.
they're going to want to know more questions. But to
Yes.
me, it's not really about having that discussion. When if you love that person in other ways, find what's common theme versus a belief system that doesn't work.
Yeah. Yeah. Let me give you a perfect example
Okay.
because this was years ago when I'd been meditating for a couple of years and read autobiography, but I was in the military. I was in the Air Force for 4 years, and I was stationed overseas. I was in Turkey, and I was wanting to get back into reading the Bible and just kind of understand some of the scriptures and all that. So this kind of sounds a little strange coming from an ashram kind of mentality. So I started reading the Bible with a small group of a couple of guys, and they would make a comment once in a while. I'm carrying the Bible and the autobiography together, and they're like, "What are you doing? You're still reading that?" I'm just like, and I just bless them and go, it's just, this is my path, and I left it right there, and I didn't feel a need to engage. And sometimes it can be frustrating because someone's just maybe so on you that they think you're going to hell, and it's just like,
Well, I've never had that happen. Yeah. Okay, I'll see you there. We're at the party. Okay, here's the best cocktails. And I think part of it is when I talk about what I believe, I really try not to have people believe. I want the skeptic. I want someone to come in and go, I don't agree with you. Go, great.
Yeah.
I don't feel like it's my need or desire or my life path.
Yeah. I also give a little example, like if somebody throws you a rock, you don't have to throw a rock back to them.
Yeah.
Or if somebody throws you a rock, you don't have to throw a flower back to them,
Mhm.
If somebody throws you a rock, absorb it and stay calm. Just like water. Water doesn't reflect, it's absorb it. And you don't have
That's
to
a beautiful
absorb it
example.
and then, oh my gosh, I'm feeling really bad and just this and that. You don't have to do that. Absorb it, let it sit bottom of the ocean, just like it sits it, and just let it to be. You don't have to
No
move
drama.
it. No, you don't have to move it. You don't have to talk about it. You don't have to feel bad about it. Just absorb it. And that's why meditation and all that, comes to when you. I always give that example thing,
I've studied a lot of different faiths, and the
Yes.
one thing I do know is they're all looking for immortality.
Mhm.
Every single
Yes.
faith, that's what bottom line. So when
Yes.
you look at all religions, that's the number one thing. They just have a
Yes.
different way of getting there.
Yes.
So sometimes it might be what's alike versus what's not alike,
Yes.
versus like, what is it that we believe? Because
Yes.
a lot of cultures have a very similar belief system.
Yes.
They just have other things around it that dance.
Yes.
Another question?
Yeah, with all the talk about possible change in leadership and media influence, will the democracy be okay? Looking for reassurance.
I got some chills.
Did you say looking through insurance?
Will the democracy be okay? Looking for assurance.
Assurance.
Because this could be like a farmers or state farming commercial. Insurance.
The fact that the Saturn and the Pluto are together is going to some extent change the face of what I think the democracy looks like. We see it happening, we see it starting to change already. Now, how is that going to affect the executive office and the congressional and, you know, judicial and all of that? I don't know. It just, what I see is some kind of metamorphosis, which is, I like that word because it's kind of, there's a revolutionizing kind of energy going on with these aspects, especially with the Saturn and the Pluto together, specifically for the US. But it's a shifting of energy for all governments because Saturn is about government and authority and all of that, and Pluto is about change. And
my intuition on that, I am interrupting you, but part of it is if we look at, we will always probably, in my opinion, have a democracy in the US.
I think so.
But I do see that it's necessary for change. I feel like some people that are in these offices for life terms.
That's got to change.
So to me, when there's a fear, it's like we may be in the rebirth, we may be in the challenging time to see what it looks like, but do we really need life terms in these situations?
I think that's one of the biggest things that needs to go away.
So it's a good thing, in my opinion, if you look at some of these people that have been there for 60 years, it's like, you need to go retire.
Yeah.
We need new blood.
We have time to make the changes.
1 to
So
2 terms, I think that's
perfect.
that's-
So to me, if you look at it that way, if people are fearful of a change in our democracy,
Yeah.
I really feel like that's a positive change in our democracy. I
I
just think we don't have it set up so it's an easy process.
Yeah.
And that's where we need to figure out how do we change that in the meantime, but we're part of that growth.
yeah.
One more
Yeah.
question.
Okay.
What will these changes from Saturn and Pluto together cause for the stock market?
Investments.
Yeah.
Buy jewelry.
Yeah.
Buy gold. Buy gold.
Gold is Jupiter, so
Oh,
by
yes.
gold. So
Yes.
Gold.
Jupiter is the biggest planet
No.
to make you think bigger picture in your life all the time. So buy gold. I know people talk about cryptocurrency, people talk about investment, all of these things, but I think it's individual, how they look at it, what they learn. And so many classes in 2021.
Mhm.
It's like how you're going to invest money, how your money growing, so many things. So I think we all had lessons through all the 2021.
No, I
All
agree.
about that.
Gold and silver, the biggest ones.
Yeah, and silver represents Venus.
Yes.
Okay.
Venus.
Yeah, no, gold and silver together. Those, I mean, that's God's currency,
So you
basically.
need to make ballons in gold and silver.
There we go.
Coins, yeah. Okay, so does that bring in Bitcoin at all, or,
Sure. However,
because I have a whole different view of
let
Bitcoin.
me add something to the cryptocurrencies. I'm sure, I would bet my life that,
Yeah.
you know, the paper stuff is going to go away. However, there will be some digital form of currency to some extent.
Yes.
And whether that is Bitcoin or, you know,
Whatever.
whatever
yeah.
cryptocurrency it is. Now, the contentious part about this whole thing is if you understand anything about Bitcoin, it's essentially a secure algorithm about transaction, concerning transaction. I'm not going to go into any more depth on that because I don't know. So I just know there's a security element to it that the markets love. However, the federal government,
Isn't as happy.
they want their own digital currency, which they're working on the FedCoin.
Yes.
I don't know when that's going to come about. So
Bitcoin.
Bitcoin,
So,
too.
or
Maybe these is bookends. Get so much wisdom here.
so it's going to be interesting to see what the governments do with these cryptocurrencies compared to their own digital dollar or digital yen or digital
Yes.
kron
Okay.
or all of that sort of thing. I think Bitcoin has some life to it and some money-making opportunities to it still, along with all the other cryptocurrencies. I don't know which ones and as far as, you know,
Investment.
and far as investments, you know,
You got to
I don't-
figure it out.
I don't have time here.
That's why you don't see any of us being investors with your money.
Yeah.
We don't get lottery numbers.
If I did, yeah. I
Yeah.
would have
Yeah.
it, you
Forget your
know.
friends, don't forget your friends.
But there is something to it. So there may be some unrest dealing with changes, you know, with the currencies between the people that agree and people that don't agree. So that's a whole nother session.
So basically, if you have any money in your mattress or under your mattress, now is the time to pull it out and buy some gold and silver.
Gold and silver,
I
yes.
would agree.
Or you
Okay.
can buy a lot of property.
That's, I mean, I did that for me. I did that
Yeah.
for me
Yeah.
and real estate.
Yeah.
And real estate.
Yeah. Mhm.
Anything you want to add to the Bitcoin kind of idea? Or-
Yeah, I don't know like much about coins and stuff, but we do buy golds like, you know, gold. In Nepal and India, I can take the gold to bank and get the money.
Wow.
Nice.
Yeah, any bank will take the gold.
So we're gonna send her on a
Yeah,
trip
so.
to.
And I think
So I
we'll
say
start
gold,
seeing more of
yeah,
that too.
and then there's so many gold shop, you know, you can,
Yeah.
and it's always going very, very high, not
Mhm.
45 degrees, it's going this way.
Okay,
So it's going pretty
Yeah, I
good.
mean,
Yeah.
it has its,
I mean, it
it
has a
has its
little
ups
up
and
and
downs.
downs,
like
Yeah.
everything.
yeah.
So just hold
But-
on.
But since COVID,
it's something
yeah,
that's very reliable.
yeah,
Hmm.
reliable, yes.
Interesting, we're wanting things of the earth.
Yes,
Mhm.
and that's why, you know, I know it's earth and it all, lots of different things, but a lot of people do timber, a lot of people do like the land, you know, all of those has to do with the properties, home, and you can see it's so high
Yeah.
up.
And please take care of the oceans. Yeah, I'm
Yes.
sorry.
Yes.
So I know we want to talk about remedies.
Yeah, well, she was.
I had a little remedy. I said, wear white on a Friday. Friday is a Venus day, so you can always wear white or pink. You know, pink is a lotus
Okay,
flower.
wait, I have a question.
Yes.
So Venus, is it
It's
more
a-
female?
It's
Yes.
a female.
So then why are we
Usually
wearing
the-
white?
Well,
Is it a-
because
Isn't it feminine black?
Venus
Color,
part
Okay.
of the color,
Okay,
white,
And
light
then-
blue, pink.
pink, yes,
Okay.
and pink is, it also represents lotus flower.
okay,
Because Venus, it's in a Hindu, represents more like Lakshmi. She's
Okay.
the goddess of
Yes.
prosperity, abundance, and beauty.
Yes.
And she sits in a
and
lotus
Lakshmi is a goddess in India.
goddess. Yeah,
Okay.
India.
For people that
and-
don't know this.
Yeah, India and Nepal,
Yes.
and then Sanskrit Hindu
Yeah, that's right.
culture, it's a Lakshmi. And she's a goddess of prosperity,
Mhm.
abundance, and beauty. And so bringing that Lakshmi that within you,
Okay,
it's also remedy to Venus. So I always say wearing oil, you know, it's also remedy to bring Venus.
any particular oil? or
Any oil, but they call it sweet oil.
Sweet oil.
Sweet oils. But the food for the Venus intake, it's a citrus.
Okay, I love
So
citrus.
Venus doesn't like, I know it's sweet, but citrus. It doesn't have to be big lime. It's a little tiny piece of citrus every day to balance your pH and all that, you know.
Yeah.
Okay, so that might be a good remedy. And I always say mantra. I'm a fan of mantra. I chant all the time. So the simple mantra is Om Shreem. Om is a O-M, S-H-R-E-E-M. It's a Shreem. But when you do this mantra, when you do Om Shreem, you can't wait to take the breath in, you know. A lot of people, what do? We put in and we put in and put in and put in and put in, but we don't put out, you know.
Exhale.
So when you do Om Shri mantra, it helps you to put out what you don't need. So,
Like it.
but it's also mantra for attraction. So attraction, we are human. We need to attract money. We need to attract love. We need, you know, all these things. So I said Om Shri mantra will attract what you need and let go what you don't need. Okay. The
I'm gonna start
oil.
singing that.
Yeah, it's really cool. I do when I'm cleaning, I do Om Shri mantra. Yeah, I do all my malas, Om Shri
Yeah.
mantra. Every knot I tie, it's Om Shri mantra.
Next video will be about how to use the malas.
Malas,
Yeah.
yes. I love that.
Yeah.
Thank you. And then oil, it's a lot of time what we do is we wear perfume and perfume has alcohol, you know. So oil might be better than spray perfume. So oils. And I, like I say, wearing white and then or pink on a Friday. And to make your Venus happy, I think you should face it to east when you eat food.
face
I know
east.
it's really hard when you're sitting in dining table, and
Maybe the people.
my sitting is always facing to south, so I always kind of think about like little turning, so it's in my mind. So
Okay.
I do that. So
And why
facing
face east?
Sunrise from east, right? So our energy, solar plexus is the sun. So bringing that food when you go through the sun, and it helps. And even when I take a medicine or my vitamins, I always face it east.
Okay.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, you'll go to the mall, the food court, and everyone's gonna be facing there. Everyone's throwing their chairs around.
And last thing, I think it's Venus is a love. So love yourself, love others, accept yourself so you can accept others, and be center yourself so you can make other people center themselves. And I think it's love. It's, we can talk about those at a different time. So I think those are the simple remedy. Anybody can do it every day. And and you can wear west down. It's a dark, it's okay, but west up you can wear more uplifting colors. Yeah.
And all these suggestions are ideas, because people that are listening normally like, how do I do this?
Yes.
How do I create this? How do I make
Yes.
these changes? And I always believe is that we give these options and these ideas, and you go, well, I can do this, but then you find something else that you want to add. It's really what aligns with you,
Yes.
your belief system, where you are in the world,
Yes.
what that looks like. And so to me, these are ideas that are simplistic.
Yeah.
And it's not over the top. It's not like you have to do some crazy, like climb a
Yeah.
big mountain or something.
Yeah,
Right.
it's very simple,
Very simple.
and everyday life, you're gonna eat your lunch anyways, why not?
Yeah.
You're gonna have some food, why didn't you add a little citrus in your food? Just the little tiny things, I think it's a big matter.
It is. Mhm.
And it can even be a small article of clothing or a scarf or something of that color of the day,
Yes.
like,
Yes.
Monday is off-white for the moon or a gray.
Yes.
Tuesday is red for Mars, Wednesday is green for Mercury.
I know
Yeah,
all
I do
this.
that every day too.
And Thursday is,
I need to know this. See?
Thursday is
Thursday is,
yellow or a rich brown.
Rich brown, yeah.
Friday
Say
is
this again. I'm typing this
I
in.
know.
Yeah.
Start with Sunday again.
Sunday, it's
is
usually
Sunday.
sun color,
It's the sun color.
yes,
Bright yellow or even orange.
or red, could be red too.
Could be red,
too.
yeah.
So
Okay.
Monday,
Monday's
the gray,
Moon's Day,
Wednesday.
gray, off-white or gray.
Slow down. My hands type really fast.
a silver color.
Off-white,
So you wear your silk,
Silver color.
Off-white,
Uh-huh.
silver.
gold on the gold days.
And then jewelry, you can wear a silver too.
So Monday, Moon's Day,
Yeah.
off-white or silver.
Yeah.
Yes,
Tuesday,
Tuesday, it's a
Mars.
Mars,
On the
so
moon day.
Mars is usually a fire color.
Yeah.
So fire color is orange, it's similar to sun color.
Yeah,
Okay.
bright.
Mhm.
I mean, it can be bright, rich sun colors,
Sun, yeah.
varying from, red
Yeah.
to orange. even,
Okay.
Wednesday is
Mercury
Mercury,
color.
Mercury,
And Mercury is green.
and that is green.
okay.
Thursday's
Thursday,
Jupiter, which is rich yellow
You are
or
wearing
rich
Jupiter,
brown.
he's wearing Jupiter color. You are wearing
Moon.
moon color, I'm wearing Venus.
Yeah.
and Fridays are
Venus Day.
Venus.
Venus Day, which is white or pink.
Yes. uh-huh.
I mean, you could even do like a light blue.
Yes, soft.
Would you agree?
Yes,
Like a
soft,
soft blue.
soft blue.
Yeah.
Nothing
And
harsh.
Saturday,
Is
usually it's
Saturn's.
Saturn day, and Saturn is a purple. Or
Purple
blue
black.
also, purple black, you can add dark blue, if it's navy
Yes.
blue, yeah.
Yes.
So wearing these colors on those
Helps you.
particular days helps you.
To
Intention.
intention brings a lot of awareness to you, makes you good luck energy, like
It's kind of like a subtle way of aligning with the planet's energy of the
The
day.
universe, okay?
So I'm gonna go back to that because I picked the parrotfish, which is changes color in its rainbow color.
Yeah.
So the fact that we're talking about this brings it
Colors,
full
yeah.
circle about all the colors that it wears in order, and it changes based on what it's doing
Yes.
to heal the coral reefs.
Yes.
Isn't that beautiful?
That's pretty
Is
awesome.
there a
beautiful.
lucky color for the year?
I still
Or-
think it's a Venus color, so
Okay.
pink or white. For the
Gold and silver.
And you're wearing white and you're wearing pink.
pink, yeah.
Well, I'm
Mala.
kind of wearing silver.
Your mala.
My mala,
Yeah,
yeah, my
malas,
mala.
yeah.
Or yellow. Is there any more questions from people?
I think just comments, but not any questions right now.
Okay.
Everybody's just.
Well, I had fun because we all did our own little thing and came together with very like
Uh-huh.
energy, which lets people know that this does work.
Mhm.
I mean, we all have a similar belief system, but we come from different places to get our information. And mine's not scientific, of course, because I'm not a scientific person or left brain. Two left brains here, but this was really enjoyable. And I think, why don't we do this again next year or maybe
Yeah.
mid-year? We could do something mid-year about
That-
like what's going on the
Yes.
rest of this year, if things have changed, if some of these things happened or did
Yes.
not,
Mhm.
to reflect on them. What do you guys think?
I think
I'd
that
love
would be
to.
fabulous.
Absolutely.
idea.
Okay,
And thank you for dinner and.
yeah.
Oh, you're
It's
welcome.
wonderful putting
Yeah.
everything together and thank you,
Yeah.
Deb.
Thank you very
Yeah,
much for
thank
coming.
you.
Also, a reminder, Deb's doing a free class
For 3 days.
the 3rd, 4th, and 5th of January. And it is to help you, empower you for the entire year.
Yes.
So
This
3rd,
is the
4th, and 5th of January.
Foundation of what we're gonna be talking about,
Yeah.
so.
Yes.
Yeah, so
And-
make sure you we'll send out information on that soon. We'll also send out information on Mark and Sarita and how to contact them. And we'll post the lucky colors for every day because everybody wants to know this. So
And really, this is about just giving you some guidance about like the weather coming up and what to do, what to look for.
Yes.
And change is necessary for all of us. That's why we're here. We're here to grow and change and bring more light to ourselves and the planet. So the thing that we all agree on is it's not fear-based. It's all
Yes.
about just realizing what's ahead and that you do have insights and tools and colors
Yes.
to wear to kind of go through it. So
Yeah.
really wish you all a great holiday and a New Year's. Don't put any
Yes.
resolutions other than just have fun and have some peace for next year. No exercise, no. Oh, that's my issue. Okay, wait a minute. I'll change that. Okay, everyone take care. Namaste and thanks for being with us.
Thank you.
Namaste.